Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another day here at Bronie's desk. And today I have a dear friend of mine who is an Aussie like me. So the Aussies have it today. And this lady is the founder of our Nature Direct line. So I'm not, if you haven't heard of our Nature Direct line, these are our amazing natural cleaning products and more and so forth. But I'm not going to talk much about it because that is Jeanette's job. So my dear friend Jeanette Anderson, thank you very much for coming and joining us again today. We've haven't had you on for over a year. This is not good.
Really isn't that long. I think the last time I was in America. So yep. Wow.
Well, this is right. And this is here in Australia, it's spring. So it's spring cleaning time. We do spring cleaning, but we have allergies, and then we're leading into bushfire season. And the bushfires really play havoc with not just our sinuses, but the air, that we breathe. And as you've pointed out before, most germs and allergies and so forth happen in the home. And so I thought this is a good time of year to have Jeanette back on to share how our products can help, the Nature Direct line can help with combating all those sorts of things, including mold. So
yes.
With no further ado, Jeanette, I'm going to hand it over to you. And I nearly wore my team t-shirt today.
I know. Well, actually, this is the very first one I received, maybe one of the first anyway. So I thought I'd wear this today because we're a team and we like to support each other. So anyway, and I also had it with my because I was doing my exercise class this morning. So what I'll do is I've just written some notes actually, because what I wanted to focus on today. Firstly, Bronie, thanks for having us and the brand. So we really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So I guess one of the things that I want to talk about are allergies, because that's actually where we're at. People are cleaning, and sometimes when they're cleaning with products that are not necessarily so allergy friendly, they can really just their allergies start to trigger. So I guess one of the things I wanted to talk about today was what happens in spring. Ideally, most of us know that something pretty major happened in Victoria in 2016. We had 11 people die on one day from an asthma attack, and it was what they call thunderstorm asthma. It's actually quite prevalent here in Victoria and parts of New South Wales, because it's actually the ryegrass that comes from the sort of the western districts that actually land on our little subclimate here in Melbourne and Victoria. In fact, my daughter rang me at the time and she was working with the ABC, and I said to her, where are you? She said, I'm at the Royal Melbourne. I said, are you reporting on this whole asthma thing? It's going crazy. That the hospitals were flocked with people because of their allergy symptoms. She said, no, I've actually been admitted. Now, she hadn't had asthma since she was about 12. And by the time, this was probably, 2016. So she was an adult. So it was really tragic when literally these people died. And what happened as well, some of the people, they had never attracted allergies before. So they were what they call new time asthma sufferers. In fact, the biggest group of people who struggle with asthma and symptoms are women over the age of 55. And they actually believe that toxic cleaning products are largely due to that. So I can certainly talk about that too. What I want to talk today is how you can make life better for you. So why is spring so impactful for the severity of allergies? If you're exposed to pollen, that you can get itchy and inflamed eyes, you get nasal passages that go all over the place. That's actually hay fever or allergic rhinitis. The pollen can also enter your lungs and lead to asthma symptoms. And the amount of pollen in the air changes according to the season and the climate where you live. It's quite extensive what can impact asthma and allergies. Trees, grass, ragweed pollens, I'm not quite sure what they are. Perhaps Grant would know that. They thrive during cool nights and warm days. It's when mold starts to grow. So what happens if allergies are left untreated. Now, we at this particular, our company, Longevity, have a lot of products that support the, if you like, the management of asthma and allergies, but it's a really tough thing to get rid of. So what happens if you put up with allergies, and how does it impact your life? Well, this is what will happen. And it's not, I don't want to scare people, but it is really serious. And I think people often laugh, but oh my gosh, my hay fever's so bad, I just had to pop a couple of Claritin so I could walk out the door. You know, untreated allergies can get worse with more severe allergy attacks occurring over time. These frequent and really prolonged allergic reactions actually weaken your immune system, and they set you up for dangerous complications such as bacterial or fungal infections in the sinuses, the lungs, the ears, the skin, the eyes, and they really, it amplifies quickly in heat and high humidity. So for those people who are in humid climates like those in Queensland, that would certainly be some of the targets, if you like. Now, all authorities, all of them internationally, recommend that those people who suffer from seasonal and annual allergies stay inside, avoid gardening and outside chores of any kind. So in other words, don't move out your home, which can be problematic in itself. I mean, when you start to hear this, it's enough to make you lock yourself up in your house, because people who do struggle with allergies just go through this. It's a perpetual cloud over the way they live. You know, the biggest spring allergy trigger is pollen. Trees, grass, weeds, they release these tiny grains, and often they're spiky as well, into the air to fertilize other plants. That's what they do. That's their job. And we actually get in the way of that, if you like, explosion of pollen. So when they get into the nose of someone who's allergic, they actually send the body's defenses into haywire, which is really interesting, because the body believes it's actually an enemy. So the immune system mistakenly sees the pollen as a danger, and it releases antibodies that attack the allergens. Then it leads to the release of chemicals called histamines into the blood. Histamines then trigger the runny nose, the itchy eyes, and the various symptoms that are all too familiar if you do have allergies and struggle with hay fever. Pollen, by the way, can travel for kilometres. It can travel 2 to 3 states with high winds. So it's not just about the plants in your neighbourhood. So I'm not going to I've made a list of all the trees that actually can trigger allergies, which is just ridiculous. I've put it this way, they go from A right to Z just about. One of the worst is actually plane trees. That's certainly those. Sycamore and poplar trees are really bad. Box elder, cedar, cypress, you name it. Then there's grasses and weeds, and they also go as long as the alphabet. You know, pollen counts tend to be particularly high on breezy days. I follow every day the asthma alert, if you like, the pollen count is what they call it. The Bureau of Meteorology actually offers that daily, so it's useful. And then when the wind picks up their sneeze-inducing grains and carries them through the air. The rainy days, on the other hand, wash away the allergens. But then what happens? Then something really bad happens. Pollen isn't this season's only trigger. With spring rains, there comes mould growth inside and outside your home. And the worst thing is spring cleaning, can we actually win, will stir up dust mites throughout the house as well. So how can you protect yourself from these pretty ordinary life-threatening symptoms? You know, cleaning house is something that I don't know whether many people enjoy it, but certainly
No.
A non-toxic cleaning product makes a big difference. I wasn't actually going to focus on the cleaning products today, because I think that one of the products that we have in our range, which has been extremely popular, we've sold over 2 million of these units, and that was before we became part of Longevity. So I'm going to show you what they look like. I'll turn it on and I'll tell you about the advantages of this sort of whiz-bang machine. There is there.
Oh, I love it. I'm so glad you're talking about that, because I have 4 of those in my house.
Yeah. Can you all hear the noise?
No, not really.
I'll see if I can move closer. Ooh. Anyway, I'll turn it off. It's quite noisy. It's actually in my office, because I have one of my grandchildren's cots in my office, so it lives here, because it actually helps with white noise. So those of you who are actually accustomed to noise, white noise is a really good thing. It actually helps your mind to go into that Zen moment, you know, that moment, a bit like a train. So what happens with white noise as well is it's enough to distract the brain. So it's a really useful unit, and it's enough for your brain to go, oh, I'm just in the middle of thinking about the things I've got to do tomorrow. What is that noise? So what it does, it distracts your brain. And it's not just that. What we do offer is a range of formulas that go into this unit. One of them is, they're all EnviroAir formulas. This one's called the regular EnviroAir, so it's yellow label. I'm hoping everybody on the line has actually got one of these machines so they can actually start using them. There's a yellow one, a regular one. The ingredients are listed on the bottles. They're all entirely plant-based, and they actually have an essential oil base, which is actually European formula. They're what they call EU EcoCert certified, which is a European and international standard. So they're very good for helping to get particles out of the air. This one here is my favourite, I must say. It's the EnviroAir Sleep for adults. It's also an anti-anxiety one. That's really good for people who struggle with anxiety at night, turning their mind off as well, which of course the Pure Air Revitaliser does help with that. I love that one. This one here, I don't like so much, but it's actually really not about the fragrance. Now, this is the hypoallergenic formula. And this is really good for people who struggle with fragrances. Many more, and they actually also trigger asthma attacks. So, like, for example, even things like curry cooking. Can you believe it? Onions in curry can trigger an asthma attack. So this one has got a vanilla base to it. I don't really like the vanilla fragrance, but my husband loves this one. That's fine. We have two of these going in our room at any time because he actually is allergic to the world. I'm serious about that. And then there is a really good one for small dogs and children. It's actually our sleep formula for children. Got like a sweet smell to it, but I know my daughter with our two little grandchildren uses it, goes through buckets of this stuff. So
would that work for other animals as well, do you think? Like cats
it
and
depends.
birds?
Yep, cats and birds are fine. I wouldn't be using it with lizards and any kind of reptiles because they're actually very sensitive to smell, any kind of smell.
You don't often have them in your house, but I know some people.
You'd be surprised how many have them as pets, though. So what? And if that's the case, you can always contact me, and basically I can talk about that and perhaps speak to them personally. I am available on Messenger pretty much all the time if you need to ask questions of me as well. So these formulas are the four that you can actually use in your home. So I have, as I said, two of them. I have one running in the kitchen. I cook a lot of fish. We probably have fish 5 to 6 times a week, and but the smell of fish, not so. So there's Sharon down in Townsville, up in Townsville. Thank you, Sharon. She's got 9 children, maybe more. I don't know, but a big family. And she knows a lot about nature direct. So there you go. And of course, she's up in the mould territory, which is Townsville. So
11. See, she has 11. I thought it was 11.
Oh, wow. There you go, Sharon. I'm so sorry. I left out one of them. And she's been nursing her husband who was bitten by a spider. So there you go. She's a busy woman. So these formulas, there's 4 to choose from in Australia. But your best friend for quick removal of pollen and dust mites and mold and allergies and anything at all is this one here. It's called EnviroMist. I hope somebody's taking notes. EnviroMist.
Yes, I have.
Now, one of the reasons why this product is so good.
Little one near my.
Yeah. You probably need a big bottle for this one. So if you do struggle with allergies, so I'm just going to give you a couple of tips. So please take notes, somebody. So firstly, always shut the doors and windows. Always. Don't be tempted to open them. If you are in a house with carpet, it would be great if you could get rid of the carpet. But, if you can't, then this is what will help. So what you would do is cover your bed and with an old sheet, cover your lamps if they're fabric, and then basically always shut the doors and windows. And you're going to spray this particular formula everywhere as high as you can get into the room. So probably point it upwards of about, a metre at least. Spray liberally. Then walk out of that room and come back in 20 minutes. Then what you're going to do is gradually fold in the sheet. Am I making sense about this? Folding?
Yes.
Does that look like I'm folding something?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, to me it does.
I'm folding the sheet. And then what you're going to do, you're not going to just chuck it on the ground and think, oh, well, I'll wash that later. You're going to put it in the washing machine without actually shaking it out, okay? Because what you've effectively done is you've attracted and trapped the particles in the air. So what this formula does, it attracts and traps any kind of polar particle. Now, for those of you who are scientific nerds out there, polar is anything that is floating in the air. I mean, my kids, when they were young, they used to call it fairy dust. Oh, Mum, look, the fairies are coming inside. Yeah, that would be dust. So those fairy dust particles are polar. So what this is a negatively charged formula. And that negatively charged formula, when it's sprayed in the air, will attract positive particles and basically make them stick. And then what it does, it dumps them completely out of the air, dumps them. And all this happens while you're downstairs having a cup of tea and you've sprayed the room. So it's a very easy formula. So once you've got rid of the sheet, grab a damp microfiber cloth. And the reason why we use microfiber is because it actually grabs onto particles. It's a really good, and just slightly dampen it with the Enviromist. We'll talk about black mold. Okay, that's another subject. I'll do that after this. So what happens then, you would then maybe wipe your bedside table and any surfaces. Those particles don't float back up again. They've been negatively charged. It's a chemical reaction, so they're not going to go anywhere. But, that you might want to quickly mop the floor or whatever. I mean, I tend to do this once a week because, as I said, Gary's allergic to the world. So I try to do this weekly. And in fact, when he's really struggling, I sometimes do it midweek as well. Now, the other thing that will help you at night time, you must go to bed, before you go to bed, wash your hair. And if you have any kind of facial hair, then you need to wash that as well with shampoo and dry it, because your hair and any facial hair is actually attracting those polar particles. So it often makes it worse. So this machine, now the challenge with using
I never knew that.
which is fantastic for getting rid of anything in the air, smell, toilet smells, cooking smells, pet smells, smoke smells. If you do struggle, like Victorians do with the shocking bushfires we've had over the years, some of you might remember in 2009, we actually lost 179 people in Victoria. It was the most horrific bushfire we've ever experienced. So if you are really struggling with spraying all the time, this is really good for maintenance. So once you've sprayed the room and washed it and wiped the bed, don't open the windows. I'll repeat, do not open the windows and doors. You are going to leave those shut, because the minute you do, they all start to pile into that room. So don't open the windows. We got that clear? Good. Okay. So this is a really great little machine to keep your room maintained, because what these formulas do, they are if you like, this is like 3 times stronger than the Enviromist is 3 times stronger than the Enviro-Air. This is also disinfectant. So the Enviro-Air will basically help to maintain by basically attracting the polar particles, any that might sneak in the room, and then basically turning them into negative particles and dumping them onto the floor or say surface or whatever. That's a great product. I'll just quickly explain it for those. If anybody not seen this before, but there might be people on the call after.
Yeah, there might be a couple of people on the call that haven't.
I'll just take it off like that. There you go. Oh, I was going to show you how clean it was, but it's actually not. Well, okay, we'll leave that there. That's my place. I thought it was clean, but it's not. Then basically the air comes in through that gap under that white lid. And can anybody see that?
Yeah.
I had that on since about 7 this morning.
It's got pretty mucky, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has actually.
Well, it just shows,
Yeah,
how much
you
it's
can't. I
fallen
mean,
in.
we've actually got people next door renovating, and I'm convinced that's half the problem. So you can actually use this to help maintain. And in fact, if you do have an allergic family or families who are sick, because remember, not only dust, pollen, all the triggers for asthma float in the air, but you know what? Some pretty nasty viruses also float in the air. And some of them can stay on surfaces in their live state, despite the fact they're actually not live particles, on surfaces for up to 17 to 18 hours. And if that is the case, then you had better get busy cleaning your house, handles, dishwasher handles, under that refrigerator handles, the shelf in the fridge which the kids pull out. Anything which is high use, particularly your refrigerator, particularly your dishwasher, particularly your door handles, particularly your any buttons you've got in your bathroom, your toilets, your taps, anything like that. So you can clean it with a microfiber cloth and our super strength cleaner, which is the blue one. Many of you probably already know that. It's actually a degreaser, so it's a very powerful cleaner. And then what you're going to do is you're going to spray it with the Enviromist.
Yep.
Double strength. That's 50 mils to 450 mils of cold water. That's double strength. And then what you're going to do is let it air dry. That's it, not touch it. So mould. I'll spend 5 minutes talking about mould. Mould is probably one of the most dangerous things we can be exposed to. Many of you know that already. Black mould is something that you need to get a remediator into the house. So if if you'd like to, you can send me photos of it. And I'll basically, if it's somewhere around the size of your hand or your fist, then certainly it can be dealt with by people at home. But anything larger than that, don't muck around with black mould. You need to actually get a remediator in to actually judge the level of toxicity and measure the air quality so they can get rid of it. Generally speaking, when there's black mould, there's moisture getting into the house. So be aware of that as well. Any dripping taps, anything like that, anything that might be behind the shower that's actually perhaps your shower's leaking, you don't even know it. It's running behind the tiles or the glass. So keep those in mind. It's not something I want to give advice to because it's far too dangerous just to have a Zoom call about black mould. There are some other moulds that you can get rid of as well. Our super strength cleaner, again, it attracts some polar particles, of which mould is. For those of you who are tempted to use bleach and any kind of what they call sodium hypochlorite, which is a formula that is a bleach-based formula, all it will do is turn it white, which sometimes can be useful. And it doesn't actually kill. It's a plant. So mould is a plant. So once it basically attaches itself to a surface like grout, for example, it will grow underneath that. Almost a way you need a weed killer. And effectively what a mould remediator will do is basically use that technique. You'll find some kind of herbicide, which is generally pretty toxic. So you need to not muck around with that. So that's really our simple range. You can actually get it in your back office, but I really recommend if you do have a house with dust and you if you have someone in your life who struggles with allergies and dust allergies and symptoms like those I've described earlier, then I wouldn't muck around with those. I think it's worthwhile having that Revitaliser in their room at night, if not two. So I hope that helps. And I know
that was awesome.
Now,
Thank
Charmer
you.
Was there anybody who had any questions?
I was going to say, does anyone have any questions?
Surely you do, Grant. I can hear it already.
Grant always has a question.
I know. Oh, okay.
Grant, do you not have a question?
No, you're muted.
You got to unmute yourself.
Oh, I'm not good on this area. This is outside my realm of expertise, really. So,
you mean mold or Zoom?
Well, actually, I've had mold. Mold's a bugger, and I didn't realise that you couldn't bleach didn't work because I've used that before. And when I saw mold, we had our roof fixed, so that helped a lot. And we used bleach, but I didn't know that it didn't work. I understood it. So that was interesting. So mold is a huge issue. Mold is. I've had lots of people contact me and say that they've they're really sick with mold. And it's one of the mold is one of those things where it doesn't matter how much nutrition you've got, how well your diet is, the mold will get you.
It's because you're breathing it in. And that's the challenge, because in a way, it's a bit of a catch-22. Do you work on your immune system so you're not attracted to the pollen and triggers asthma, triggers mold, affect you? You can't do that. You actually can't. It's an ongoing battle. So you have to minimize the level of allergens in the home. And that minimization involves cleaning products. You know, sodium hypochlorite is highly toxic. It's actually, particularly even in Australia, even China has much lower acceptance levels of sodium hypochlorite than we do. In Australia, we're such a small population, so very rarely are there any kind of guidelines that actually classify those ingredients. So most people would understand what the bleach looks like. It might be Domestos, it might be a toilet cleaner or whatever. So these things also, and I haven't even touched this because this is really, it's a real trigger for allergies. It's what they call volatile organic compounds. I'm looking at the time, I'm just keeping an eye so I don't rabbit on. So volatile organic compounds, or VOC, are one of the biggest triggers for allergens and illness in the home or car that you can possibly be exposed to. And so the way to get rid of them is try and choose things that have minimal or the VOC free, if you like. That's what you often see that as well. Don't disregard that, because if you are at an age where you've had COPD or any kind of emphysema, I mean, how many of us have had family members like that who struggle with that? You've got to be really careful about VOCs. VOCs come from any number of formulas. Even essential oils are very, very high in volatile organic compounds. Some cooking methods have very high in volatile organic compounds. Toilet sprays, air fresheners. Promise me you'll absolutely throw any tin away, or any bottle away or tin away of any kind of air freshener. And I know Sharon would probably, I might ask her for a testimony because she's been a nature user for a long time now. So volatile organic compounds, I'm not going to go into details about them, so you can probably Google what they do. But sodium hypochlorite, which is basically the active ingredient for bleach, is very high in volatile organic compounds. In fact, if you have more than 1 hour exposure to a high level of bleach, and you won't know the level of ingredient in that because it doesn't have to state it in the bottle. That's the challenge. So you are at risk of dying. I know this sounds absolutely, I've got a fabulous document actually that I tried to find it earlier. It's a US document basically on the acceptable levels of exposure to sodium hypochlorite. And the other one, of course, is never mix ammonia and sodium hypochlorite together, because they make it even more toxic. And we've all over the years, I remember, Brom, you might have remembered this as well, when my kids were young, I'd send them out of the house. And of course, I'd never clean with clothes on in the shower. I mean, then I'd get it all over my clothes. But, you know, what about my skin? Things like that. So, you know, I think when you know better, you do better. So I'm really glad, Grant, you're on this call today, because keep in mind, these are very affordable products. One of these bottles here, and I haven't got the super strength here because I'm actually downstairs, I'm under my kitchen sink. One of these makes up five spray bottles. So they're very economic. Oh, this is super strength. There you go. That's the one I use in my bathroom. 5. So they're very, very, very effective. In fact, Sharon's just posted something. Can you unmute yourself, Sharon?
Yeah, I was wanting.
Can you unmute yourself, Sharon? Where are you?
She may not be able to. Are you able to put your camera on, Sharon?
And we can.
I'm asking her to unmute, and I'm asking her to start her camera.
She's got a lot of people going on. She may have a house full. Absolutely, that's the case.
I'm sure she probably does, but she has a couple of questions there.
So Caroline, have you got any questions about anything we've said today? If you want to add to something, she's actually one of the original Nature Direct distributors, so there's not much she doesn't know about it either.
Yeah,
You're probably working as well.
No, I'm working. I won't have camera on. Yeah, no, that's great. Very interesting about mold. I'm finding a lot of clients are suffering with the mold aspect. So yeah, I think that goes undetected quite a lot. Yeah. Do you think it affects skin issues as well? Would you say people would have skin issues? I know obviously breathing and respiratory, but
it's also, well, it's not just the VOCs of cleaning products, it's actually the ingredients that they actually clean with. So the good thing about Nature Direct is that our products are all pH neutral. This is a really important factor for skin. You can actually, I mean, Caroline, how many times have you and I cleaned toilets where, sorry, not together, of course, but we might go and clean our bathroom or whatever. When people are coming over, you just spray the super strength or whatever and just wipe it away. You don't have to glove up and mask up. And that's literally what some people have to do. So it's a really a fantastic degreaser, non-toxic cleaning product. So there she is. Hi, Sharon.
Hi, Sharon.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I just had to attend to the twins.
I bet you did. No, you don't have to apologise for anything. So, you know, you've been using Nature Direct now for how many years?
Oh, it must be well over 10 years, I'm sure of it.
Mm.
Yeah, it was actually before I met Caroline. I was with another friend. Yeah, so it's been a long time.
Yeah. And what's your favourite thing about Nature Direct?
Oh, well, as I said in the comment, we had a big bout of gastro, and I used to use Glen 20, and I remember at the first party I went to, that they said about the birds on the back of Glen 20, it says don't spray any birds, and we're like, well,
birds before
yeah,
you
that's
turn
like
them to the treated area.
I know, I'm like, why am I spraying it around my children, you know? So that's when we had 2 or 3 young children at the time. So it must be well over 22 years now. And then we had a big bout of gastro. Everybody got gastro, and we got Enviromist. I got rid of Glen 20, and I just love how you can just spray it and leave it. And so anyone who just got one bout of gastro, we sprayed it straight away, quarantined them. We never had a big bout of that ever again. So when the children have colds, flus, we sprayed in the air. I have the breathe easy on in the main area. And it's just helped our family so much.
Oh, I can't imagine what it would be like having 10 people in the house with gastro.
Oh my goodness.
That just brings shudder.
I hope you have 10 toilets.
I shudder with fear.
Well, thank goodness it was more the vomiting side. So we just had buckets. So we're laying in front of the TV with buckets.
Yeah. Thank you.
But yes. So and we've had a few with allergies here. I admit that I probably need to get at least 3 more breathe easies up here because we have the dust and the mold issue up here. So yeah, I have to get onto that now. So we've got to get some more. Yeah, but yeah, definitely. I love. Yeah, we have the Enviromist, the super strength, the spray and wipe. So yeah, we've been using it for over 20 years now.
And I really hope that you are enforcing mandatory cleaning from your older children with the Nature Direct products. I think.
Oh yes, definitely, definitely. We're on. Yeah. They know about the products, and everyone has a little Enviromist in their bags. And
school bag, you name it, cars. In fact, people forget that sometimes when your kids come home from school, and for goodness sake, get a microfiber, clean the door handles of the car, and spray it with the Enviromist and let it air dry.
Yeah.
I think we're probably putting the fear of God in everybody about this, but it's nobody wants to get sick like that because in the whole you're out of the combat for the next 6 weeks.
Definitely.
The other one gets over it, then the next one gets it, and that's what happens.
Yeah, so we have the cloths, you've been talking about the microfiber cloths. We have those as well in our line. And can you explain the differences between our cloths and ones you get in the shop?
None really, other than the fact that they last a lot longer. That microfiber of any kind, I actually always buy a big bag of 20 microfiber from Bunnings, and I use those to clean mould. So, okay, I'm going to do another folding exercise. You're going to think I'm nuts here. So what happens when you are cleaning mould, and I know that there are a lot of people who are work in a professional capacity with childcare centres and cleaners and stuff. So microfiber is designed to attract and trap particles. It does it really well. but the cheap bags you get from Bunnings, they're actually intended for a one use only. And this is because you can't get rid of the spores from those hooks in the microfiber ever. So you have to throw them out. That's why don't ever put them in the washing machine with all your other clothes. So this is what it looks like. The microfiber is a solid cloth. You would then fold it into 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So effectively you have 8 sides. So you'd spray it with the super strength, let it sit there for probably about 20 seconds, if that. And then you would use the microfiber to actually clean over it. And certainly down grout areas you might want to. We used to have the eraser block, but you can pick some up from other sources. And then you can actually use those to clean grout as well. So then what you would do, you would then turn the microfiber on another side. So there's one side, there's 2. And then you turn it inside out into the other four corners of the material. And then what you do is throw them out after you've used them. Don't keep them. Don't ever be tempted to keep a microfiber once you've used it for up to 8 times. And it's generally the same cloth. You turn it inside out. And our microfiber lasts a long time. They're double stitched. They are much heavier density of the hooks, if you like. But remember, they're only plastic. All microfiber is plastic. So once they're used, you can then throw them into the recycle bin. So just pop your Bunnings ones that you may have and then pop them into the recycle bin. I know Gary's got a pile of them down in the garage, which are all the black greasy ones. I don't know how this happens, but inevitably always there's a beautiful polishing cloth that finds its way into his pile of greasy stuff. So that's his greasy microfiber. He can stay with those, but these are the ones I use in the home, and I use for anybody who wants advice around mould in particular. Do not use microfiber. And never, if you've used it to clean baths and stuff and gastro, don't be tempted to wash them. Throw them out into the recycle bin.
It's funny you say that. I've got some cheap ones, like you said, from Bunnings, and I've got our good ones. And my husband decided one day to use the good ones for something that needed to be only used once to throw away.
Yeah, well, that's disappointing. Anyway,
and I
yep.
Oh, I was horrified, and
I know, I'm not
he mixed them up, and I but I keep them separate. Why would you mix
Yeah, keep them in a different box. But that's really, microfiber is very effective, and I know with floors and things like that, it's a great thing for picking things up as well. So, for example, the super strength. What people perhaps forget is that the floor in your home is often the dirtiest place of all, because you're walking things from outside, pesticides, herbicides, dog feces, you name it, any number of chemicals. So I know that you probably shan't spend your whole time cleaning your floor, but it is really worthwhile, considering particularly if you've got pets as well. Often gastro and any kind of gastrointestinal infection in the home comes from animals and animal feces. So you need to probably keep a bottle of the super strength. I actually put that on the edge of my bucket, and I put 5 mils in my bucket of hot water, and I basically spray the gunky stuff. And it's surprising how quickly it works. You can have sometimes a really grungy greasy floor. Spray the super strength onto it. Let it sit for, I reckon, 15 seconds only. I'm sure Sharon would agree with me. And then basically mop it away. It just picks up the gunk. It's a great cleaner. So, and you can use it with, and it's very safe. It's pH neutral, VOC free. I'll say that again, pH neutral, VOC free. And I'm very proud to say that, because it's a great brand. They last a long time. Remember, one of these makes up 5 bottles. Although I do go through probably a couple of bottles a month, every 2 months. And these, of course, with the Revitaliser, try them. Try the adult sleep anti-anxiety formula. Try the regular Enviro Air, which is great for the kitchen. The children's one, if you do have young children or young or small pets. And be aware that, these are not, it's not a diffuser. Whereas a diffuser is designed to put particles into the air, which is lovely when you're having a bath and you want to just relax and have that beautiful to be at peace smell that some of our oils carry. But, we're talking about general living in the house. Don't use a diffuser, because the diffuser puts particles into the air and out. The Revitaliser actually takes particles out of the air. And in fact, people often say, can I put essential oils into my revitalizer? No. Oil and water don't mix. That's just black and white science. And it also, if you do use it in the room with the essential oil diffuser, you're effectively wasting all that beautiful oil from the diffuser, because this is going to take particles out of the air. So one is going to negate the other.
Absolutely.
I hope that helps.
That was excellent, Jeanette, as usual. And but I wanted to just tell you, with the Breathe Easy, or as you call it, Revitaliser, I actually find when I have it on at night, and my husband works night shifts, so doesn't get home till 3:30 in the morning. But if it's not on before he goes to bed, he doesn't like it on, right? But if it's on before he gets home and on, he's okay with it. He doesn't turn it off, but he actually doesn't snore as much.
Yep. Well, that's what they call the ionizer. So an ionizer, basically, again, it's a formula that negatively charges the particles. So people who do snore, who have nasal problems, we do have a big snorer in our house, I must say. In fact, we also have a cat who snores. Insane. So is there no rest for the wicked? Seriously.
No.
But, it is a great product to actually have for animals around as well. And we in every probably 3 or 4 weeks, we get our daughter's dog, who is a Dalmatian, a very large dog, and he races up into the bedroom and basically jumps on his bed. He too snores. So I'm not sure if I'm ever going to get any peace at all, actually, from people who snore and creatures who snore in this house.
Oh,
anyway,
I know the
so if
feeling.
you've got any other questions, I'm sure I'm well aware of the time. I don't want to keep you here talking for an hour about cleaning products, for goodness sake.
Are there any other questions from anyone on the call? Carmen?
Yeah, Jeanette, can you go over what you do for an asthmatic?
Say that again, sorry.
Can you go over what you would do for an asthmatic?
Okay. You mean in the home?
In the home, yes.
Okay. Shut the doors and windows first. Just shut the doors and windows. If you have got carpet, well, that's okay. Just make sure that you use the Asthma Council recommended level of cleaning, which is basically you go over one area 10 times. 10 times. So don't open the doors and windows, and then grab an old sheet, and then basically what you would do is basically place it across the bed, because anything any particle that's dumping out of the air will land on a surface. You don't want that landing on your bed. And if you've got a bedside table or lamps, it may be fabric, cover them up. I've got my children's old nappies. I don't know how they lasted that long, but they have. Anyway, and I just pop them over the top of my bedside lamps. And then basically spray with the Enviromist, which is the pink one. Enviromist, spray that liberally. And then go back in after about 20 minutes. Then what you would do with the sheet is basically fold it inside out like that. Don't scrunch it up so everything goes everywhere. Pop that in the washing machine. Grab a damp microfiber. You can actually dampen it with the Enviromist as well, just with a quick spray of that. And wipe the surfaces in the bedroom. Again, don't open the doors and windows ever. That's the end of, if you are an allergy sufferer, then I'm afraid that's the way it is. And in fact, the ionizer, what this does, and I know Sharon will agree with me because she's got multiple people in her family. What you'll find, you walk in the room when this revitalizer is on, and I put it on about 2 hours before bed. I don't like the noise myself, but that's fine. Sometimes I persevere. And then what you'll find, it smells like the beach. It smells like it's just rained. Sharon, you're still there, but that's exactly what it does. It's like that just rained feeling that's in you. It's like a feeling. It's not a smell. In fact, they call it something. There's something for that smell when it rains. It's actually quite a pleasant thing. And it's a lovely, you feel like you're walking to fresh air. With the bedroom, it's got the doors and windows shut. So that's something to be aware of. So, at the end of it, also don't forget, the end of the day, downstairs, if you do have somebody's there you go, makes you feel happy, like being at the beach. I know it does. It has that. It's got that feeling about. There's actually somebody will Google it for me. I know that what they call that just rain smell, if you like. It's not really a smell, it's like a feeling.
Mm.
So
It
so
makes
that's
you
really
feel
what you do.
happy.
So Grant, if you've got any mold issues, send me photos of those, so I can perhaps gauge where you would go on that one. There are a couple.
Well, we're pretty good on the mold issues now, but we have had them in the past. And then we
Okay.
got our roof fixed, and that helped a
Yeah.
lot.
That helps. You've got to stop the water from getting in the
Yeah.
first place. So, I mean, things like that. I've got to say, the other thing I do is I use the Enviromist to spray our mattress. I vacuum the mattress. This is a really big thing. I vacuum the mattress. I actually bought a sleeping duck so we could take the cover off and wash it, which is what I do as well. And then we spray that. I spray that when I'm doing the bedroom. And I know I'm an exceptional wife, seriously exceptional spouse, because I do all these things to actually help Gary breathe, because you know the consequences are not particularly pleasant for anybody. So and my daughter's the same. So spray the mattress, make it double strength, and I've got to tell you, these will be your best friends. And I know they're not probably sexy or anything like that, but boy oh boy do they make life a lot easier.
Mm. And so going back to Grant's question on asthmatics, and you're talking about the bedroom, what about the lounge room? Could you do the same, like cover your lounge?
If you
And
can, yep, keep the doors and shuts window, but keep the windows and doors shut. Okay. Wherever you can use a revitalizer and spray the pink thing, and obviously with the fabric, cover it up. You can vacuum your couch if your sofa and your couches, if they are fabric. So I've got 2 vacuum cleaners, got 1 heap of vacuum, and I've got my Dyson as well. So I'm always whipping around with a vacuum cleaner. So keep in mind, if you have got animals, things are twice as bad. Again, keep the doors and windows shut. I know my mother-in-law was really unwell for many years before she passed away. And in the nursing home, I had a machine right next to her chair. And so when we would visit her, it would get a good clean out every week. Gary would go over every Saturday and clean their machines and do that, which are very easy to clean and maintain as well. And inevitably people would walk into her room. She used to like that. She said, I couldn't stand that old people smell.
yeah.
What she used to say was people would walk in her room and say, oh, your room smells so nice. What have you been spraying? Oh, nothing. It's my revitalizer, and my daughter-in-law gave that to me. So there you go.
Yeah, it does make a difference. I know when we don't put it on, the days we don't put it on, and then you're sort of like, why is everything so dusty and everything again? And then you put it on and it's sort of kind of
Doesn't suck the dust up, but it does actually, what it does, I'll just quickly go through that again. See, I'm not sure if you can see it by the camera. You'll see there's a gap under there. See that gap up there?
yes.
That's where the machine drags the air in through that gap there. And then the ionized mist, if you like, it's a mist, you don't even see it. It's like a vapor more than anything, actually comes through these. So that's how that works. Now, of course, it does have a night light in it, and what they call an attendance light. But you know what? Is it on? Sorry, just turn it on. You see the orange light there? It's orange for a reason. Probably doesn't look orange in that light, but it's actually, oh, there it is, orange.
Yeah.
So it's orange because blue light interrupts the sleep cycle. That has a warm.
Blue lights can also trigger epileptic fits.
Yeah, well, that's quite a mild thing, but we did, we actually, we have a fantastic distributor in WA, and she's actually has a business called the Good Night Nurse, and she's basically a pediatric sleep specialist. So basically she recommends revitalizers, because they're the other thing that's quite important if you do have young children, please keep this in mind. Perhaps you haven't heard this before, Sharon. The white noise is under 60 decibels. That's really important, and it is consistent. Rather than a white noise machine you might get online, which sometimes triggers across your phone, turns it up, all kinds of things. A lot of young mums do that. This is a really good, safe machine. If it gets knocked over, it just simply turns off. So it's got sort of a, and it does get knocked over sometimes by the dog. It's a cold water unit, so there's no hot vapor. Of course, years ago, perhaps Grant, when your children were young, we would probably have used a vaporizer.
We used the vaporizer.
It would pump, sorry?
We used a vaporizer.
Not anymore, you're not. Not anymore. You're going to get rid of that. And what it would do is basically pump warm moisture into the air, and it would just dribble down the walls. So most of the children's hospitals now insist that you do not use what's called a vaporizer.
Mm.
But
Well,
it's
then
very
do it down the wall, but it
old-fashioned
causes
tool.
mold.
Well, it's not just that; it actually adds moisture to the air, and of course, other things grow in the air with not just mold as well.
Some people used to put even towels over their heads while they used those things.
Yeah, well, that was over a bowl of hot water.
Mm.
You had to do that, but sometimes that was recommended. But often now they know a lot more about keeping the moisture bearing, or if you like, the moisture mucus bearing tissues moist, because they are the ones that actually trap everything. So it's important you do that rather than restrict it. Anyway, I hope that helps.
Oh, wonderful.
That was wonderful. So, Carmen, did you have a question?
No, I don't. I don't have a question. Thank you. Sorry. Hold on. No, thank you so much, Jeanette. That was really valuable.
I hope so. And I know
Yeah.
it's a bit innocuous. The brand is just basically sits there, and I don't think anybody really knows what to do with it. So thanks, Brom, for the chance to actually talk about this product.
Oh, well, it's one
proud
of
of
our
the fact
unsung
that-
heroes.
I mean, what's the date today? So now we're officially over 17 years old. There you go.
There you go.
As a brand.
This is the 29th of October.
Yeah, well, that's on the
2024.
19th of October. So there you go. So
Oh, well, there you go.
so thank you.
So you came out just after my birthday. Day after.
There you go. Okay.
All right. Well, if we have no further questions,
Can I just
yes,
you
Eve,
have to get
Yvonne.
it through longevity, or can you get it in?
Yes,
Yes,
it
you
is
can.
in our back office. It's our in our
Sure can. Yep.
in our
You can get all of these formulas through the things I've shown you today are all products. This one in particular, this one's called, it comes with 2 bottles of solution, the Enviro Air. I'll grab another one. And that one there, hang on, how am I going to do this?
with great difficulty.
Comes with 2 bottles of solution. That's called the Breathe Easy Pack. And what I might do while I've got you on the phone is just quickly tell you the SKU in Australia. How's that sound?
Yeah.
And that way,
And we find it under the home.
yeah, I'll give you the SKU.
Home
Even that's
exam.
confusing sometimes. I'll give you the SKU number, so maybe Bron, you can put it in the contact.
Okay.
AUND
What?
1022.
AUND.
ND 1022. And you'll see there's another couple when you go onto the Longevity website, that actually another couple of options with the children's sleep formula. It's called a bundle, and the adult sleep formula. And then you can actually get the concentrates, and they are, I'll give you the SKU, the main SKU, the Enviromist. It's always good to get a double one because you'll go through it pretty quickly. Thanks, Bronwyn. So a single bottle of Enviromist is, come on, hurry up, where are you? Is it in there? Are you in there? There it is. AUND 200-121. So that's that pink one. Seriously, that will be your best friend. You'll use that. I can't tell you how many things that cancels out. Disinfectant, sanitizer, air control, dust control, smell in any part of the house. It's a fantastic product to use. And remember, these 4 are available. These 4, which is the adult sleep anti-anxiety. There's the hypoallergenic. Again, this is recommended for people who have strong allergies and sensitive fragrances. And by now, at our age, people say, oh, I'm really allergic to fragrance. Believe me, if you are allergic to any kind of fragrance, you'll know it by now. So that's really recommended. It also contains the 6 essential oils that are classified as hypoallergenic by the International Fragrance Association. That's the IFA. So this is the only one that contains these, if you like, hypoallergenic classified essential oils. And then there is the children's one and small animals, and there's the regular one as well. So there you go. And you can get them in bigger bottles and twin bundles, so you won't run out.
Carolyn. Yes, Carolyn has a quick question. What pack do you recommend for people who are starting out, and what
Thank you.
or what?
Right, I'll just tell you right now, actually, I would recommend, there's a little pack that gets you going. There's one called the Live Well pack, although I've got to say, I think the Pure Clean pack is really good, Caroline. The Pure Clean has got the super strength clean, it's got the environment. That's a really great pack. And the Live Well pack's got the Pure Clean pack actually comes with 2 bottles of super strength. And with all the empty spray bottles with the microfiber as well. So they're good packs. They're good packs to have.
Right.
The Live Well Plus pack as well. And there's also the Eco Starter pack, which is a glass cleaner and the super strength. That's a great pack as well. Glass cleaner. I could talk a month about glass cleaners and how people who sit next to glass windows in big office buildings get sicker than those who live quite close to the into the center of the room, because the glass is actually emitting VOCs from the ammonia-based glass cleaners. But I'm not going to cover that topic today.
We'll have to have that another day.
Another day. Okay, see, I could talk about cleaning products all freaking day. There you go. I do have a life.
It's an important thing, and you know, with all the things that are in the air,
and you can't escape it. That's the thing. You can be as healthy as you like, but believe me, if a baby sneezes on you with gastro, that's it.
You're gone.
The number's up.
Hang on. Carmen asks, how does the environment compare to concentrated eucalyptus?
Okay, eucalyptus oil. It's Enviromist is actually formulated to attract and trap particles out of the air. It's got eucalyptus in it. So I'll just quickly read you the instructions. I think I are. Here we are. What have they got in them? I can't see because they're too small. It's got clove in it. I do know, and mint, eucalyptus, thyme, rosemary, and it's all in a castor oil base. So it's plant-based for a start. I think the other thing about the environment is it's so multi-purpose. A lot of people might use eucalyptus, a capful of that in their washing, which is a nice fragrance as well. I know Basisto is still a good brand of one I would use in my washing if I'm going to pop a capful in. But this is completely different. It's a sanitizer, it's a disinfectant, it's an air control product, it's an odor control product. So it has multiple uses other than just eucalyptus. Eucalyptus, if you were to spray that on in a room, it would just drop to the floor, but it doesn't attract anything. It's basically just a mold cleaner.
Yeah. I actually sometimes, not all the time, put the Enviromist in my washing machine, in my washing.
Yeah, you can do that. It's an expensive way to do it, but you can do it. Yeah.
Not all the time, just every now and again, especially if things are really, really dirty, like depending where we've been, we live out in the country.
What you might find works better though is spraying the clothes with it, because it's stronger. Spray the clothes, and it's as you're basically popping the washing machine, laundry in the washing machine, basically spray the clothes heavily and then put them in the washing machine. And that way the clothes are really started to, that's often where the smell comes from. So it's a much more affordable way to do it, and a really effective way to do it, Bronwyn.
Yeah. And the other one that I found good for that is the fabric, the carpet and fabric.
Yeah. Carpet upholstery. Yeah, we still got that. We run out of, they're available in twin packs as well. Carpet, cars, clothes while you're actually in them. That helps. You can clean. So because it's pH neutral and it's not non-toxic, it doesn't affect the clothing or anything.
And so, it's great for spraying the curtains as well, especially
always check first with curtains, because it's a water-based cleaner. And sometimes they need what they call an ethanol-based cleaner. So there you go.
I actually used that super strength and Enviromist to clean our lounge. We had foster child and living as many years. He's moved out now, so he's just turned 21. But where the lounge part where he sat was black.
Yep.
I could not, I struggled to get him to not sit on it with his wet, greasy, dirty clothes from Hungry Jack's where he worked then. And I used all sorts to get that black off.
Yeah, I know it's a very effective plan. I'm just letting Carmen know. also the Eco Starter Pack. But you'll need to order the pink. We call it pink for stink. I mean, Caroline, you might remember the way we used to call it that, pink for stink, which is basically the pink label Enviromist. There you go.
Yeah, so you wanted this and the live
Live Well
yeah,
Pack
Live
and
Well
Feel
Pack.
Clean Pack. There's the Eco Starter Pack, which is also good. They're very affordable because remember, you're getting them at wholesale pricing, but you can, you know, they go a long way. They're very, very price conscious as well.
Yeah, and they
So
like
I think we better cut the call off because I've been talking for an hour about cleaning products, heavens above. So
oh look, you know, you just never know, do you, what's going on? All
No.
right. Oh
hang on, there's another message.
I've got
Keep going. Thank you. Me too.
yeah. Awesome.
Back to your time, Bronwyn.
All right. Well, as I ask you all nicely here in Bronie's world, just stay safe, stay informed, be empowered, but do not live in fear, my friends. And when you're keeping the air in your home clean and getting those environments, spraying it around, it's my best friend, to track all the particles in that, then you too will be powerful, beautiful, brilliant, and most definitely very brave. God bless you all. Catch you again tomorrow here in Bronie's world. And now I can't find.
Thanks, Bronie and Jeanette. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jeanette, for coming and sharing with us.
pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.